So here's a question, Mark. How do you keep it at 60 degrees on your side of the car?
Yeah.
Are you warm-blooded, cold-blooded? Cold-blooded when it comes to your rebate strategy.
That's it. I think I'm just British. It's all about foundations.
What kind of foundations?
You need a solid foundation to make a big building, and you need a solid foundation to a rebate strategy. See, the connection I've made there.
Yeah, I do see that. Okay.
So yeah, rebate reset. Firstly, this really was the brainchild of Deanne, and it's something that we've skirted around as a business, but she really just packaged it up quite nicely. And the reason for this is because Deanne has not always worked with rebates. So she is an expert in the pricing field. And one day, I don't know how this conversation went, or probably who she upset, but normally that's the case when you get handed the role of the rebate job. It was passed to her. So she went in completely with her eyes open. And what she realized is very quickly that this is a big, big thing. Prices don't always realize the scale of the rebates. And so because she's coming at it from a new perspective, she looked at it and thought, is this right? Is this effective? Could we be doing this better?
That's something you should always be asking.
But I think we're all guilty in all walks of life of maybe not doing that enough. Whether it is your work-life balance, whether it is if you're in marketing and you're running campaigns and things, there's that taking a step back. Are we actually getting what we want here? And I think that, and what that then does is it prompts you to ask the next, or the biggest and most important question, which is actually, what do I want? Socks.
Oh, yeah. Gonna have those socks.
They're not even going to fall out of the trolley.
Don't lose it. Don't lose it.
Look at that. These rebates have grown kind of organically over many years of negotiations, to the point where people are not clear on what the objective of that rebate is, or actually what their overall objective is. Which is why, to Deanne's point, you do a reset. And that does not mean you instantly stop paying things out. It just means you take a step back and you reflect on, what do we want? Are we actually getting that? What can we do differently to achieve that? And this is not, again, about paying out less rebate to your customers.
Yeah.
This is about rewarding the customers that are actually the customers you want to reward. And so a rebate reset for me comes down to two principal things. Kind of that, what are you doing and why? And then how are we executing it? Mostly it's the former. That's really where I'm trying to get the messaging here. It kind of goes without saying that if something's so important, you should be using the technology. And my hope is that people will associate a good message from a good company actually as bringing credibility to what Enable is all about. Because I think we all recognize that a bad strategy in good software is still a bad strategy.
Right.
And so for me, we want to help businesses improve that strategy. And I think that's going to change how we think about rebates, how we approach rebates. So yeah, I think it's an exciting time.
Yeah.
What also was great was to hear from Deanne on the concept of the rebate reset. But with a good dose of reality, which is not. Do not enter a rebate reset thinking you're going to change everything, because your stakeholders are immediately going to fight back. Even making small changes is going to be challenging, and that's probably why these things haven't changed already. But it is about this is, in the truest sense, a journey in terms of getting to a place where the rebates actually can work better for both sides than maybe where they work better for one side more than the other. And so naturally that one side that's benefiting a bit more is going to be resistant, right, to that change. First thing, take a step back. Do not dive into a rebate reset. Whatever you do, don't just start changing things, because you're going to put the fox in the hen house if you do that. Do you have that saying?
Yeah.
I always have to check these things.
The fox in the hen house is one of those things that has come over across the pond.
And the cat amongst the pigeons?
No, cat amongst the pigeons.
That's what
that sounds like a early Genesis record, but no, it's
the fox in the hen house.
Fox in the hen house makes more sense.
And so what we you don't want that fox in the hen house.
Yeah.
Well, because that hen house, all those hens, they're all your stakeholders.
And they talk.
And they do talk.
Those hens.
So what you want to do, take a step back and really carefully think about this. And then when you've decided what you want to do, maybe try it with one or two first. Because you're not going to get it, or it's unlikely it'll be correct first time around. Learn from the first couple of experiences of maybe communicating this before you start to go elsewhere. I've just been to Best Buy. I've been to experiencing all the delights of shopping in the United States, in Kansas City, sampling some of the very best retail experiences. I'm now about to go over to Cale's. I've done the customary thing. I've got a 6-pack. I wish I had one physically, but unfortunately, lockdown made sure that didn't happen. Maybe a few things before that as well. And it's really interesting this week. There's been a lot of various discussions, and my perspective on something has changed. Rebate reset. I feel I've probably been a bit too, or maybe guilty of, expressing a rebate reset as something that's quite easy to do. And it dawned on me, speaking to Deanne Hammer yesterday, a rebate reset is arguably very difficult to do. Maybe that's why so many businesses need to do it, but they haven't done it yet. I mean, it makes sense. If something's easy to do, it's probably been done. And so people are probably thinking, I'd love to do a rebate reset. Where do I get started? What are the consequences? And I think Deanne, she kind of explained this really well, which is you're definitely not going to want to go into this at 100 miles an hour and just start making changes. I don't think your customers are going to appreciate this. I don't think your colleagues, especially, for example, your sales colleagues, are going to appreciate this either. A rebate is it's a very emotional thing. It's very valuable when structured correctly to your customer. So you have to be really careful and create these incentives with kind of pinpoint accuracy. And maybe that's where they've gone a little bit astray. Maybe that pinpointness, if that's a word, isn't quite there anymore. And like anything, they need to be reviewed. And I think the longer you don't review something, the bigger the gap to get it to where it needs to be. That gap grows. And that's where many rebates are. we're not talking in a rebate reset scenario of a rebate that was created 6 months ago, probably being difficult to change, albeit I appreciate they, even in that scenario, they can be. In some cases, these rebates are years, if not decades old. And the older they are, probably the more challenging they're going to be to change. It comes back to working with your customer. Because the reality is, as much as you might be worried about the perception of a change, maybe your customer, as long as they're brought on board and they are consulted on the process, maybe your customer's going to say, this is a good time to change. Let's see what we can do that can make both of us more successful. And I think that's really key in a rebate reset process, the communication piece. This is not about just crunching numbers and saying, hey, the number should be 4%, not 5%. That might be the reality, but the communication is going to be the key to getting you to where you need to be. I think you should enter a reset with the numbers ready, so that if you're asked, well, what should it look like? What does good look like? You have that answer, because this is not a conversation that you want to approach. Potentially it's welcomed, and then you have to go away, do numbers, and then come back again and start the process. If you're getting good engagement, ideally, you want to keep that going, keep that momentum. So do your homework before trying to consider what it is you might want. Your customer may put you straight on the spot and say, what does this actually mean for me? And if you haven't got a clear answer, you're probably going to make them wary. They're going to be worried. Why am I not receiving a straight answer as to why somebody wants to change my rebates? So have that answer crystal clear before you have any conversation with them, because you may only get one go at this to be able to successfully implement change for mutual benefit. Yeah, let's see how things go. We're going to be driving through Kansas City. It's going to be an interesting journey, no doubt. I'm in a rather large vehicle, albeit I feel a little bit out of place. I should have had a pickup truck. Next time I drive through the US, I'm going to have a pickup truck. I did joke with Cale that I may buy some cowboy boots, much probably to the joy of my British counterparts who would love to see me in cowboy boots. I'm in Kansas City now, so I'm all for the barbecue and the sauce. Super Bowl weekend as well, so tomorrow going to be really good fun. We're going to a Super Bowl party. Not quite sure what to expect from that. It's maybe it's going to be like Cup final day in the UK, albeit I suspect there'll be a bit more sophistication on the American side. I think the sport is more of a family affair, but I'm really looking forward to it. So let's strap in, safety first and everything. I've got, just so you know as well, I have my driving shirt on. This is just in case the driving gets challenging. This is my driving shirt, just gives me a little bit of confidence.